Hi everyone, Joe here for Trinity Stamps. This is my very first video for them and I'm featuring the Succulent banner stamp set and dies. So today I'm going to do a little bit of heat embossing and then also some watercolouring. So I've got a Ranger watercolour cardstock here. I'm going to stamp it with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. Now I've got my mini Misty here because I'm going to stamp it twice. I really want a crisp image, but I want it as dark as possible since I'm going to be watercolouring. So I'm just pressing it heavily down and making sure I do it twice to capture any parts that I didn't stamp properly in the first place. And that's the beauty of using the Misty tool. So once I was happy with that, I also stamp the sentiment, which is from the same stamp set, and I then start watercolouring. So you can see there to the right, I've got my aqua brush. Now I'm going to be using some Zig Clean Clear colour markers here, and because I've got my glass mat from Ranger here, I'm going to scribble to the right the markers on the actual glass part. And I'm just going to pick up some colour with my aqua brush and paint on and watercolour on as much as I can. So I will be going on triple time speed here. It's just so I don't bore you with the watercolouring process. But you can see with this I actually use bright colours, and the Zig Clean Clear markers are quite vibrant in their colours, and because I'm using this particular watercolour paper and cardstock, it blends really well. I'm not concentrating too hard on my blending technique. I'm actually just enjoying the watercolouring process. So what I've got there as a cloth to clean up the glass mat is, it's like almost like a microfiber cloth, so that way I'm able to clean the surface really quickly. Sometimes I dampen it a little bit just with water, but I'm able just to clean up my mat really quickly with that. Now just pretty much colouring till my heart's content. That's all I'm doing here. I use an array of colours. I don't go too crazy in my colours. I kind of just stick to the same colour range. I also use my microfiber cloth to clean my watercolour aqua pen here in between colours. Now one of my tips that I do for my watercolouring is I tend to go heavy and then work my way light and pretty much try and water down the image, so where I want the lightest or the white part to peek through, I tend to just dab onto the my microfiber cloth there, the pigment on the watercolor pen off a little bit more, and then so it becomes more a clear water on the actual aqua brush. And you can see here I'm just colouring in just the flower. I go this vibrant colour here, and I'll list the clean and clear markers that I've used in the product description below, just so if it helps you if you want to use this color combination later on. Now this here, because the image is so small, I actually just use my Zig Clean and Clear markers direct to paper. It's just so small that it wasn't really necessary for me to put it on the mat, then pick it up with pick the pigment up and then color it in. So I'm just going over any dark spots that I've missed. Now I thought I was going to die cut straight away, but I wanted to colour this banner in with just a little bit of grey. Now I really just layer this banner of this watercoloring process. I started off as light as possible, putting more water in, and then once I realized I needed to shade in some more areas, I just picked up some more pigment. So here I am, just adding some shaded areas into the banner, especially where I found that's where I suppose the creases of the banner was going to be. Now, before I die cut this, I bring in, which is something different, my copics. I add some extra detail through almost like a dotting technique on my watercolor panel here. And I find that really blended in well with the watercolor. And all I'm doing is just adding extra texture. And you'll see it in the close-up. And you would have seen it in the close-up of my video in the intro. So I'm using similar colors to what I've used. So matching my copics with the Zig Clean and Clear markers. And just adding that dotted texture. Now I do it on the banner as well, and you can really see it more on the banner. And it almost brings it, not to life, but brings it to the forefront. And it's just a little bit of texture, and that's all it is. Then I die cut the overall image out. Now, this die cut fits perfectly around the whole image. I secure it down with some washi tape. I've de-static them, if that is even a word, by just placing it on my arm first, and then just sticking it down. So I've got a white top folding card front here, card base. I'm going to heat emboss with the Wow Opaque Bright White in the super fine, the sentiment, which is the add-on sentiment. So it says, happiness is when I'm with you. Isn't that sweet? I've got some just thin copy paper there to catch the rest of the embossing powder, and then I'm going to funnel it back into my powder. But that is, once it's dried and heat set, it's just so bright and white. It's beautiful, this powder. And then I'm just going to foam adhere that down, and then using the Catherine Pooler Lime Ricky here, I'm going to stamp the inside of the panel. Because it's a black card base, I always put an insert in there so I can write in there straight away. Going to liquid adhesive this down with some Tombow Mono and placing that down. Now here I thought I was finished, but then I'm like, you know what, I really need to finish embellishing that card front off. So Trinity was kind enough to give some little sequins, and these are like iridescent baby stars, which I think is perfect. So it's not adding too much sequins or something that's too big, but this is just adding that little bit of iridescentness and detail to the card front, and that it kind of keeps it simple but with some extra little bits on there. So once I've adhered this down, I've used my multi-matte medium in that fine tip applicator, and that's my card. So I hope you enjoyed today's card creation, my very first card with this beautiful new stamp company. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave a comment. Have a nice day. See you later.